Hi guys, today I'm going to show you a technique of tie-dyeing. It's called reverse tie-dye. So with this technique you actually need a coloured garment. So the darker the colour of the garment, the more effective the pattern will look. And again, a high cotton content in whatever you're trying to bleach would be more effective. So for this method, you need a coloured garment. I'm just using a plain coloured t-shirt. You would need any bleach. Most people have that around the house. I have an old towel in case of spillages. You're going to need some rubber gloves, which I'm using some from an old hair dyeing kit, or washing up gloves are fine, anything that's going to protect your hands. And on your table, make sure that you've covered your table in plastic. I've just used a laundry recycle bag, and it's a good idea to cover your floors as well. So the first thing we're going to do is wash and leave damp our t-shirt or whatever you're using, and the pattern I'm going to do on this one is going to be the traditional spiral effect. So let me go and wash this. I've washed my top that I'm going to be bleaching, and I've left it damp. The other thing that we're going to need, which I'm not sure I mentioned, is a few rubber bands. So I get these on my post, so I've got loads of these. I don't throw them away because they're not animal friendly or environmentally friendly. So to start, I'm going to get my bleach and I'm going to dilute it slightly with water. I'm just going to use a normal measuring jug, and I'm going to mix it 2:1. So let's say 200 mils of bleach to 100 mils of water, just because that's quite thick. So let me do that and then we'll get started. Because we're working with bleach, make sure to cover your hands, make sure to cover your surfaces and your carpet, and also work in a well ventilated area because the bleach is quite strong smelling. So I've got my bleach and some water. I'm just going to mix it up. And then we're ready to fold our t-shirts. So I'm going to just show you the classic kind of spiral technique, and just remember that this is the reverse of tie-dye. So wherever the bleach touches is where it's going to be draining the color out of. So on this style of tie-dye, it will be a two-colored garment, whereas usually if you're using the clothing dye, you can add many colors and there's secondary colors. But this will basically, the t-shirt will end up being blue and a pale blue, which will still be really nice. So for the spiral effect, you can decide where you want the spiral to start. If you want it central or kind of off-center. I quite like mine off-center. So what you need to do, you lay your t-shirt on a flat surface, and then wherever you want your spiral to start, you pinch out a piece of fabric there, and you just twist and twist and twist until all of the garment is in a circular kind of formation. And just make sure as much as possible to keep that garment flat as you're twisting. So let's start. I'm going to start just at the sort of the shoulder here, and I'm just going to pinch and twist, and as I'm twisting I'm just going to sort of press the fabric flat. It needs to be flat because all the surface area that's exposed is going to be what the dye is going to touch, and that's going to be the bit that's obviously bleached out. So you can just bring the fabric around. I'll try and show you what it looks like. So it's nice and spirally like that, and I'm going to try and keep it again as flat as possible. And then I'm going to stick on a few elastic bands. So with the elastic bands you can stick 2 or more on, and wherever the bleach is going to touch is going to be bleached out. So obviously the more bleach you want on, the less elastic bands. But I'm going to go for 3 bands and see how that comes out as I go. It also depends with the bleach, because we're working in reverse, you might want sort of more of the actual color of the garment to stay, or you might want it more bleached out. So that is your choice. For me, on this one, I quite like the color of the top that I've got. So I'm going to have probably more of the top unbleached than bleached. So we've got kind of a pie over there with different segments. I'm just going to make my segments a bit more even. And again, as flat as you can keep it is a good way to work it out. So there we go. This is what my garment looks like at the moment. It's damp, it's elasticated, and I'm just going to pour some bleach on. Now what I'm going to do is pour it sort of over the elastic. So where the elastic is, it will just kind of bleed through underneath and hopefully be quite subtle. If you wanted a more dramatic effect, you could just put bleach over the whole garment. It's probably a good idea as well to put your garment not just flat on the table, otherwise it just sits soaking up the bleach, but put it onto like a metal grate or a metal grid so the bleach can actually drip through that. So once you've poured the bleach where you want it, make sure it's on both sides. I have a plastic bag, a couple of shopping bags that are handy, and I'm just going to put this garment into the shopping bag, wrap it up and leave it for 4 to 6 hours. After that, we'll take the elastic bands off, give it a wash and see what we've got. With our reverse tie-dye t-shirts, I've just checked it. I've taken it out of the packet, and this is what it currently looks like. So the bleach has definitely worked. What I'm going to do is take off the elastic bands and then give it a good rinse under running water. Once I've rinsed it really well, I'm going to put it in the washing machine and give it a good wash. And after that, I'm going to show you again what it looks like. Whoa, that is pretty cool. So that is your reverse tie-dye, and I'm just going to give it a rinse and a wash, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So I've washed our reverse tie-dye t-shirt, I've left it to dry, and this is the final result. So I'm really happy with this one. I'm really happy how it turned out. We've got some of the original colour and then a blend of how the bleach coloured the shirt. So really happy with this one, and I hope you also get really good results.